and welcome to this week's episode of Fresh Perspective. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kate.
And I'm Erin. And today we have an insightful and thought-provoking show lined up for you.
We'll be exploring the power of charity, how giving back can create a real change in communities and for our planet.
We'll be addressing the critical issue of women's safety, the ongoing efforts to create safer environments and the actions we can all take. And we'll also be having an open and honest conversation about sexual health, breaking down stigmas and addressing the questions that often go unspoken.
To help unpack these important topics, we have some amazing guests joining us in today's show. We'll be joined by Rachel Muirhead, who's passionate about sustainability and second-hand fashion.
We'll be speaking with Sophie Wiley, a member of the Walkie Talkie Girly Group. And finally, we'll hear from Catherine Dunlop, a healthcare professional.
And to close out the show on a high note, we have a special musical performance from Ethan McDevitt.
It's going to be a fascinating discussion, so stay tuned. This is Fresh Perspective.
First up, we have an incredibly impactful charity making a real difference in the Philippines, transforming the lives of disadvantaged communities one bag at a time. Let's have a look.
Did you know the fast fashion industry significantly contributes to environmental degradation, producing over 92 million tonnes of waste annually? From filling landfills, polluting our planet and depleting vital resources, the impact doesn't stop there. Behind the low prices and rapid trends are exploited workers, unsafe conditions and a system that encourages overconsumption. One place making real impact is 10 Foundations, a charity shop doing much more than just selling second-hand clothes. We met with Ian, the founder of 10 Foundations, to learn how this shop is changing lives one clothing piece at a time.
I started 10 Foundations in 2012. I got the opportunity to go on a windsurfing holiday and I looked online to see where I could go in the winter time and up popped the Philippines. I just started to witness the poverty and the wee germ of an idea started to form, and here we are now. Charity shops were seen as very down market, like you only shopped in a charity shop because you couldn't afford to go somewhere else. Nowadays young people shop in charity shops because they care and they see the difference in being able to buy a pair of jeans or a top that you can get in a charity shop, and it's helping so many people. So it is, especially when you think of 10 Foundations, you're helping people living in the Philippines, 7,000 miles away. One of our big selling points when we're talking to people and they're buying a bag, we can say hand on heart that nobody makes 1 penny out of that bag apart from the ladies who make them in the Philippines. And that's something that I'm passionate about, that they're the only ones that make any money. Whereas with the fast fashion, the people who are making them are at the bottom of the chain. They're getting paid, like if you take a garment that say sells for £10, I can't imagine what the lady in wherever is making it probably gets about 50p. I remember a few years ago there was a big fire in Bangladesh, I think. The garment workers, they were paid appallingly and it was really, really bad. And a lady started a hashtag thing about ask the question, who made my clothes? And just ask that question, do you know where your clothes were made? And a lot of people don't know or don't care. And we did a wee video about exactly that same thing, who made my school bag? And just ask that question, do you know where your school bag was made? And we not only know where the bag was made, we know the name of all the ladies. I could tell you every one of those ladies that we have there. So I think that's very important to just ask that wee question about where did that garment or where did that school bag come from? It's the best thing I've ever done in my life. There's no doubt about it. If you're buying a bag, why not buy one that can change someone's life? And our bags really do change lives. So I think that's the basic message to get across, that our bags change lives.
The work of 10 Foundations is nothing short of remarkable. They are empowering individuals and ensuring their efforts have a lasting effect on the communities in the Philippines and also on the environment.
We are joined by Rachel Muirhead, who is passionate about sustainable shopping and can also tell us a little bit more about 10 Foundations. Welcome, Rachel.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
So yeah, the work that 10 Foundations do is just so important. They're all about breaking that really harmful chain of where workers are being exploited and being paid so little. They're about making sure workers are paid fairly for the work that they do and sourcing everything ethically. And I think it's amazing that they've got a shop right here in Belfast that we can go into and we can hear about who's making the products.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. And do you think, as Ian was saying there, that more people should be asking themselves that question of who made my clothes?
Yeah, I think so, because I think there's a little bit of an idea. You go into a shop and you just pick something and go, oh, that's a really great price. But I think we should think, why is it that price? If it's really cheap, there's a reason for that. And who's making this product? Are they being paid fairly? Because we don't want to be paid unfairly. We go to work and expect a fair wage, and I think we should want the people making our clothes to be paid fairly as well.
Definitely. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your own approach to sustainability?
Yeah, well, like everyone, I'm not perfect, and in the past I definitely would have bought from fast fashion brands as well, but I've been trying recently to be more ethical and source things more sustainably. I've been shopping in Vinted and selling clothes that I don't wear, selling them in Vinted or taking things to the charity shop as well, and I'm really enjoying that journey of loving secondhand clothing. It feels like a little bit of a reward when you find like a really nice little piece.
Yeah, for sure. And could you tell us a little bit about your opinions on the fast fashion industry?
I think fast fashion is really harmful to both the environment and to the workers, and just even us as well. We're spending a lot of money on products that aren't very good, and I think it's being really influenced through social media that fast fashion is the way to go because the products are cheap and you can buy a lot. And I think there's some influencers that are doing real harm with the idea of promoting hauls and buying clothes a lot more frequently than we probably should be.
Definitely. And do you think there's too much of a reliance on fast fashion?
I think so, because it's so easily to access. I think there's an idea pushed that some clothes are disposable and you just buy it for one event. Like maybe if you're going to a concert or something, there's an idea of, oh, this is a really good outfit for that, but it's not something you'd wear every day. So what are you doing with it after that one event?
Very true, yes.
And do you think that shopping in shops such as 10 Foundations or other charity shops has become more, like the attitudes that maybe people have towards shopping there has changed over the years?
Yeah, I think over the past year really I've noticed a big change in it. I feel like before if you said, oh, I'm going to the charity shop, you'd get a little bit of a look and be like, is that not something you just do with your granny? But I think it's quite trendy at the minute, and I think there's a lot of people are trying to encourage others on social media and stuff, and I know I love it. I'm like grabbing my friends, going to get nice coffee and going for a little look around the charity shops. I'm like, this is a lovely little way to spend a day out, and I think it's good to see that people are being more conscious of where they're buying their clothes from and are starting to support charities as well, which is really important.
And do you think people are finding shopping sustainable a harder task than it actually is?
Yeah, I think so. I think some people have the idea of, oh, it's really difficult to find what you want. Like if you go to a charity shop, it's all in reels, it's impossible. But I think, through Vinted and Depop, it's made things easier as well. If you want a certain item, you can search for it. It doesn't have to be difficult to find something on second-hand sites like that, or if you're shopping in charity shops, it can be easy. It's also really fun.
Yeah, I was going to ask there about, the likes of Vinted and Depop. Do you think that those kind of like online platforms make it like way more accessible to people to be able to buy secondhand?
Definitely, yeah, because there's people that probably would never go to a charity shop, wouldn't dream of it, but they can go on Vinted or Depop and find it. And I find it's really good if there's something maybe you wanted that was sold out as well. You can, instead of trying to wait to get it that way, you can have a look for it on sites like that. And I think it's really changed the way of secondhand shopping.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's one thing that you've done to be more sustainable?
I think for me it would be going through my clothes and going, if I'm not going to wear that, I'm going to sell it on second hand, and then I can use that money to buy more clothes on those kind of sites. I think that's probably been my best sustainability tip.
And what's like one piece of clothing that you're like, you find in like a charity shop or on Vinted that you're like, oh wow, that is like such a find?
It has to be this jacket I'm wearing today. It's a bit of an Adidas like shirt jacket vibe, and it was £12.
Nice. Oh, where did you get that?
I actually got that in one of the charity shops in East Belfast. My friend lives there and she went, you have to come to my charity shops, they're the best. And she was right.
Really
If you had to quickly tell us your favourite charity shop to shop in, where would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one, but I do love Vintage and Retro and Botanic.
Very nice. I've never been there. I'll probably have to try it. I think like one thing I was like thinking about what I do to be sustainable, and like you were saying earlier as well about like wearing dresses as tops and like re-wearing clothes and like kind of restyling things, and I think that's really fun. Like there's always like creative ways to kind of be sustainable and still be fashionable, of course. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
I've definitely taken on some of those tips, and hopefully you at home have taken on those sustainability tips on board.
Another organisation conducting extremely important work in Belfast is Reclaim the Agenda, who I spoke to about raising awareness for violence against women and campaigning to make our streets safer.
98% of women in Northern Ireland have experienced violence or abuse in their lifetime. Northern Ireland is reported to have the third highest femicide rate per capita in Europe, and since 2020, 24 women have been violently killed, underscoring serious concerns about women's safety.
Not really all the time. Usually there's at least one person that says something. Specifically at night time.
Probably not. I feel like it's much safer whenever I'm in like a big group. No, I would never walk home alone. I always try and arrange a lift before I go anywhere. I find one on a night out, because if I was trying to walk up the room, there's always someone trying to stop me, trying to say something stupid. I don't even really like taxis or public transport like that either. I would usually try and get a lift with your family, and then we already do. You just get booked a wee bit. Doesn't feel comfortable.
Initiatives such as Reclaim the Night highlight the urgency for ending violence against women and creating safer streets and nightlife in Belfast and Northern Ireland. I spoke to Danielle Roberts about issues facing women and what can be done to create safer streets for women of Belfast.
So I'm Danielle, I work at Reclaim the Agenda, and we organise the annual Reclaim the Night March. Reclaim the Night as a movement started in the 70s. It was a response to the Yorkshire Ripper, and the police kind of guidance to women at that was for women to stay at home. We should be safe to be out at night. It's not for us to change our behaviour. So Reclaim the Night Belfast has two main aims. One is to raise awareness of the issue of gender-based violence, including violence against women and girls, and the other is to show solidarity and support to victims and survivors, that they're not alone. We've had the Gildan review, and coercive control has been criminalised, and we've had new domestic abuse and stalking legislation. And I do think that protests and rallies like Reclaim the Night contribute to those legislative changes, because it is drawing awareness to the issues. By taking over the streets for that evening, it's trying to change the culture and say we should be safe to walk here every night. It shouldn't take us being in a big group shouting and banging samba drums for us to be safe to do this.
The Reclaim the Night marches are doing incredible work campaigning for a brighter and safer future for women.
Our next guest is Sophie Wiley, a member of the organisation The Walkie Talkie Girlies, who similarly to Reclaim the Night are raising awareness for women's safety issues. Hello Sophie.
Hi.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Could you just tell us a wee bit about the Walkie Talkie Girlies Society?
Yes, so the Walkie Talkie Girlies Society is a woman-led society that was formed by Queen's students. So basically what we are is a society that meets for weekly walks to create a safe space for our members, as well as spread awareness of women's safety issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And what inspired you to get involved with the society?
I was inspired because I seen it on social media. It was a new society at the time, and basically what it was just a nice way to get out and about, meet new people, get out of your comfort zone, go on a walk, and yeah.
And how has the community grown since you joined?
Yes, so whenever I first started, we maybe had 25 people at each walk, and there was around 250 members. Now we're growing and growing each week with some walks that I've attended. There's been 50 people and increasing numbers. So now we have over 500 members, which is amazing.
Yeah, incredible. And despite the challenges that women face, do you feel hopeful that there can be a real change?
Yes, so obviously it's really, really hurtful and annoying to see that there is these challenges, but there definitely is a change when people come together and raise awareness and spread and open their opinions to matters and how we can be effective and create a change.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some main concerns regarding women's safety in the
So,
streets?
the main concerns I think would definitely be how Belfast alone is considered one of the most dangerous places for women and girls in all of Western Europe, obviously due to like the increase in numbers of femicides in such a short period of time, which is devastating.
Yeah. And do you think that social media and the likes have allowed for a more open and honest conversation around women's safety?
Yes, I do. I think social media is so good in that it's a platform that can spread awareness and open conversations and really get people to connect that may have like suffered from similar experiences, and they can talk to each other, support each other, as well as really helpful in directing people to the right people to go speak to about their issues and get help when it is needed.
And if someone's watching and they really want to get involved, how can they get involved with the Walkie Talkie Girlies?
Okay, so we're at various different events, so we're always in the SU, but basically the most effective way to get in touch with us would be through our social medias. So our tag is just Walkie Talkie Girlies. Send you to a QR code where you can become a member and come to any of our walks. Everybody is welcome. It's a great way and it's a great organisation.
And how has your experience been since joining the group?
I've had such a positive experience with the Walkie Talkie Girlies, especially being on the committee. Every walk, getting to meet people, it's you meet a new person every single walk, and it's just so great to see so many people coming together and supporting issues and really spreading awareness and having such a strong commitment to the same ideas.
And how have other girls' lives been changed by joining the walks?
Yeah, so other girls' lives have been changed because they do step out of their comfort zone, come to one of our walks, and they do meet new people. And because we work so closely with the likes of Women's Aid and Nexus, they're getting to know information that they mightn't have known before. And if anyone ever does come to them, at least they'll have some kind of grounds to go to and support people and know who to send them to if something has happened or they're struggling in any way.
Yeah. And you're saying there that you're on the committee. What kind of things does that involve?
Yeah, so I would be involved in, I would lead the walks and kind of be like the middleman if in the walks, for example, if someone is coming by themselves, I'm the person who would be like, oh hi, what do you do? Tell me about yourself, and really welcome them and make them feel included and welcomed and really create that safe space is what the whole point of the committee is. Yeah. As well as organise events and collabs and stuff like that.
Yeah, perfect. I think it's just really inspiring to see the work of the society, because it does sometimes feel like an isolating experience, even just walking home from a night out. Even if you are with a friend or two, it can still feel quite daunting, and to have a group of girls come together and just, you're meeting new people every week, it seems, and you're getting huge numbers joining the society, so it's brilliant and amazing work, and really inspiring, and the likes of Reclaim the Night as well. It's all just lovely to see. Yes. And for anyone who is wanting to get involved, you can find out more information about the Walkie Talkie Girlies on their Instagram page.
Finally, we turn our focus to Common Youth, an organisation providing essential support to young people across Northern Ireland, promoting education, empowerment and well-being for the next generation. So let's see how they're doing that.
If you ever find it challenging to discuss your sexual health, a nearby organisation on the outskirts of Cathedral Quarter is working to address this issue and foster a more open dialogue.
So we have the drop-in clinic, which is open every day, and in every clinic we have a counsellor which would work with crisis or refer into the counselling, which we do separate from the clinic. So we have counsellors, we have the information workers, advice, education, that they also do the testing for STIs and things like that. Then we have doctors, we have nurses. So we do the medical stuff, which is obviously emergency contraception and contraception in itself, advice, information, education. A lot of the stuff that we do is advice, education and information. We also have the education team that go out and deliver the RSE programs. Yeah, it's a great service. It's kind of a holistic service because it kind of covers a lot of bases for young people when they come in. Sometimes they don't want to speak to a counsellor, but they just want to have a conversation about, I read this online, what does this mean, sort of vibes, so they get the opportunity to do that. Definitely, that's a big part of the role that I do in here as a information worker. Before the information worker role was there, it was just counselling or medical, and that's great, but we thought they needed something in the middle, so then we developed this role, which is a bit more relaxed. It's a bit more youth worker vibes, a bit more chilled, and it is about putting people at ease, because I think sometimes, especially with young people, sometimes when they're coming to a clinic like this, it's the first time they're accessing a service without their parents. There is a tendency to go to the scary place, so people do that when they're looking up STIs and things like that. I always laugh because I think when people arrive at the clinic, sometimes they feel like they need some sort of A-levels and STIs before they access the clinic, because they Google and they research so much. But on the other side of that, I think it's great that there's so much information out there, but it's about how you access the information is the interesting point. But I always say speak to a professional, because when you're sitting on your own, going through stuff, nervous, freaking out about something, it's much more difficult to understand where you're really at with it, and then it kind of creates a barrier because you're frightened to hear the bad stuff, when actually it could be really simple.
We took to the streets to ask the public how they feel about sexual health and common youth.
A wee bit, yeah. Wouldn't feel comfortable.
It would probably depend on the context. Family, yeah. I'm usually happy enough talking to friends and other people I would know. It's not really a taboo kind of topic for me.
No, I think school lacks the education.
School is something they never really did. They just talk about the likes of conception and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually I've been there a couple of times, just for my own things, and just because I didn't really want to go and talk to doctors or parents about it, I could just take myself there.
I haven't. I've heard a little bit, but not a lot.
You go in and it's very relaxed. They have you sit down, somebody comes in and they just chat away to you. It's very friendly and you feel very open and safe.
In Northern Ireland especially, it feels vital to have a safe space like Common Youth where young people can find judgment-free support.
Joining us now is Catherine Dunlop, who plays a key role in supporting young people who visit the Common Youth Clinic. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, Kate. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about your role in Common Youth?
I'm the lead nurse at Common Youth, and we're a young people's charity. We're open 7 days a week. It's a walk-in service and it's free for young people from the ages of 13 to 25, so anybody can access our services. We offer contraception, STI testing, counselling. Young people just need to access us really, and everybody's welcome there, and they can ask any questions they want to regarding their sexual health.
Why do you think that so many young people are afraid to talk about their sexual health?
I think there's a great degree of embarrassment still about it really, and if it's not taught freely within their homes, and it is taught amongst their friends, the difficulty is sometimes being able to have that conversation at home about their sexual health, and some young people may not want to do that really. So they know that they can come to Common Youth and they can have that embarrassment is hopefully they don't feel embarrassed asking any questions they want. But I still do think that there is an instant degree of embarrassment when people access social media and they don't know what they've accessed really, and then their mind's going out into the dust as to what anything could be really. So I think it's really having that, it's the lack of information, the correct information for young people, I think.
And what advice would you have for anyone who feels embarrassed or nervous to talk about their sexual health?
Come down to see us at Common Youth. Come down through the door. It's nothing like seeing a person face to face, rather than then we can talk to them about their sexual health, and we talk to them about. We want to find out about what's going on in that young person's life, okay? Because everything impacts on their sexual health, really. So who do they live with, how school is, or wherever they are, and just to get them to have that conversation with us, really, and put them at ease to say, I know it's something we talk about on a daily basis about sex, about contraception, but they may not feel as comfortable with that, really, but just to really to say, no question is a daft question, and just let them ask as many questions as they want to.
Yeah, absolutely. What motivates you to advocate for better sexual health education and communication?
Every day. I would say every day. You learn so much at Common Youth. It probably does help that I've got an 18-year-old and 20-year-old, so that does help really, so I know what issues are going on with young people, or they tell me at least anyway. So I want it to be able for people to feel safe, really, that they've got a safe space to discuss their sexual health, really. Whatever they are, whoever they are most welcome at Common Youth, really. So are motivated by making their space a safer space in which they can they make healthier decisions about their sexual health, really. And we do that within the team. We discuss issues within the team and Common Youth as well.
And how do conversation about sexual health differ when addressing younger and older generations?
It depends, Kate, I think, on the maturity of the young person. If you've got somebody who's 14, your language is going to be different to somebody else who's maybe 19 or 20, 24. So it depends on the individual, and you tailor that towards their needs, really, as well. We are governed a lot by safeguarding and Common Youth, really, so it's not a question of just giving out a pill or anything like that. We have to go through certain clinical parameters that are on us to actually give to in order to give medication. So it's using the right language that they understand, really. And if they don't understand it, most young people will say, what are you talking about? They will say, they will question you, which is good when healthy, really. So it depends on the individual you're talking to and tailor it for that, really, more than anything.
Yeah, and just to wrap up, you were saying about social media and misinformation. Do you think social media is primarily a good educator for sexual health?
I think it's great. It connects young people, and it gives them an awful lot of information, and things like Contraceptive Choices website and SH24 has made huge steps, really. But I think for a lot of young people, it's good for them to see somebody. And also, really, when it comes to safeguarding, you have to have eyes on a young person. You can't do safeguarding over the phone, really. So I think it's great, and I think it has its context, really, but I think it's important that people access the information really from the right person, whether it's medical, either a doctor or nurse, and actually be able to explain their situations, whether it's their contraception or an STI situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, kind of getting that point across to people, that speaking to someone in person is so important. Like, I've been in a few times, and it's so much more comfortable than going to a GP or even just being online and stuff.
And a lot of people would phone us and say, I've got my pill from SH24, but they didn't explain how I would take this, really. And there's nothing like showing a young person a pill packet and saying, this is how you do it, because you can't know otherwise. If you've never taken that pill before, you don't know. You need to see it and ask those questions. So where do I get that from?
I'm sorry to wrap up, Catherine, but we're running out of time. Thank you so much for all your insight. That brings us to the end of this episode of Fresh Perspective. A huge thank you to all of our guests, Rachel, Sophie and Catherine, for coming on the show and sharing their insights. And to you, our audience, for watching. We hope today's discussions have sparked thought, raised awareness and maybe even inspired action.
Before we go, we have Ethan McDevitt playing us out with a performance of The Weight by the band. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.